All right, we're live. Welcome back. This is the second of my live YouTube sessions where the last day of the month, I'm going on YouTube to talk about some stuff. And this one is I'm going to base this conversation around the concept of sharpening in retirement and share some ideas I have on that. And get into some other things while I'm at it. I did not do a great job at pushing this out via email or anything, so I would anticipate a pretty slow showing, but this is recorded and I hope that you get a chance to view it sometime. Obviously, if you're hearing this, you are, and I'll just invite you to reach out to me. And if you would like to be notified when these go on, please let me know. And I would do a better job at sending this out to my email list that I'm going live on YouTube. First housekeeping is I'm working through cough at the moment. So I'm going to try to mute myself if I have to take a coughing break. But please offer me a little grace on that if my voice is raspy or I have to take a minute. So I have some notes over here, and I'm going to talk about the idea of sharpening in retirement. Before I do that, I did want to take a quick moment here to talk about what has happened in the Guild of Professional Sharpeners in January, just briefly. And then I'll talk about my ideas around sharpening in retirement. I'll take a moment to say some things about what February 2025 looks like inside the Guild. And I have a few closing things. So I'm doing monthly themes for 2025 inside the Guild, and I try to structure content around those themes. January went pretty well. I'm still working out my own systems here, but the beginning of a calendar year, in my opinion, is a great time to think about the year ahead. So I made the theme in January, vision and goals for success in 2025. And I had about an article a week that came out to identify goals and ways to think about goals, and then just asking leading questions. And there was some good feedback with regard to that. But I think the highlight really of January was having Karen Rodigen join us. She is a business coach, and I found her kind of serendipitously. Just if I don't know, if you don't really get this, you won't get it. But sometimes the stars just line up, and there's a saying that when your heart is true, the universe conspires to help you. And I really like that. And the only really way I can explain it is that the universe got Karen involved to join us in this journey. So she came on for one of our group calls. These happen Thursday night. And she really spoke to building a mission statement and goal setting. She brought a bunch of good examples, and it was more of a workshop than like a presentation, and that several members got to put their mission statement up and share them with Karen and get feedback on that. And I really like that. I'd love to be able to incorporate more of that with the community. The thing that stood out to me at the very end, something just kind of clicked for me, and that was the whole mission statement thing can be kind of like dull, and like it's not a ton of fun, and like we scrutinize each word, and then like people get carried away, and like it's like one of the reasons we do that is because it requires us to think about it. So it's sometimes, and just like Greg made this point, like the mission statement matters less than the thought process that went in to make it. I really like that. But the takeaway that I got from Karen was that once we draft our mission statement, we should visit it when we're faced with a question or something with regard to our business. And one thing that we see a lot, I see a lot, and I know a lot of other people do too, is we're on track, right? And then like something shows up. Maybe it's like a real common one is like, here is this estate sale, or here's like this sharpening equipment that is for sale. And that is now, it's like late, like totally looking over here now. And do we want to like, should we buy this old equipment and focus our energy over here, or should we ignore that and keep on doing what we're doing? And there's no way of really knowing what the right answer is. But I was thinking that when we go back and look at our mission statement, when we're confronted with problems like that, our mission statement can help inform whether or not we should take a pass on that opportunity that presented itself, or maybe it's the universe working in our favor and putting that in front of us. It's like exactly what our mission statement requires us to have at this point. So I really like that. It's a couple sentences long, and it should be a guide for us as we navigate the growth or work through our business. And it's a working statement, right? It's not like something you do once and then forget about it. Over time, you come back and look at it. So that was my favorite takeaway from that call with Karen. I see there's a few people in here. If anyone could just do me a solid and leave a comment so that I get some feedback that audio, visual stuff is all working, I would appreciate that. Feel free to say hi or anything as well. And if you have any questions, I'm just about to wrap up the recap from January and get into some ideas around sharpening in retirement. So if you want to participate in this conversation in any way, I invite you to do that through the comments. Okay, so that was my highlight. Okay, thanks. I guess got some feedback there that you can hear me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, the vision and goals for success, January, that was good. And I'll talk a little bit about the planning for February here in a minute. But first, I want to just go through. Oh, hey, Kim. Nice. All right. Awesome. Very good. Hey, JD. Awesome. Thank you. So sharpening in retirement. This is what brought this up is that this idea of the natural fit, the natural audience, like who's this for? Like this whole thing about sharpening in retirement, which I'm going to get into, is kind of like awesome. And there's a lot of people doing it. A lot of people in the guild are either in retirement or through conversations realize that they have this idea. They've reached that stage in their life where they're thinking about retirement and they're reflecting on what they want to do in their retirement. So it is kind of a natural fit. And I want to get into some reasons why I believe that it is. And they're really just for you to think about and apply to your own life. The first thing, which I just can't skip, is this whole idea of retirement is one that I put up a little resistance to. And it seems to suggest that if we're going to retire from something, then we're doing something in our life that we're not, that we want to not do. So I'm just a huge advocate for respecting this small amount of time that we have on the earth and spending it doing things we enjoy doing. I can't say that I'm exactly doing that, but it's something that I think about and I'm striving for. So I think that for most of the people that are coming into sharpening as a retirement, they don't see it as the standard job where some year they're going to retire from sharpening. They see it as something that they're going to do. And sharpening, like maybe the first key point there is you can sharpen well late into your life. So as you age, there are some things that you might need to do to make it more comfortable and facilitate it, but it's something that you don't really age out of. Okay, Josh asked a question. Not Josh, you have to forgive me. That's a little off topic of what I'm going to get into, but the question is being able to change the direction of the Buck Tool 1x30 bench grinder. And the quick answer is no, I don't have that tool, and I have not worked on changing the direction of it. But you are using Cliff's Cubitrons and Trizacks, which I definitely give the nod of approval to. Thanks for reaching out, Josh, and for being here. So going back to the sharpening your retirement thing and why you might want to consider it. Okay, one, you don't age out of it. It kind of erases that whole idea of retirement. Hopefully you get into it because you love it, and don't build something you hate. So shape your retirement business however you want it, and not at all how you think somebody else might think you should have it. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. The next reason I'm referencing some notes I have over here, but it is a relatively low startup cost. I don't want to undermine how, to a lot of us, like if I said $1,000, that can be real money to people. So I don't want to ignore that. And it is a big investment. But if we look at it through the lens of like business startup costs, it is very small. You can point at almost any other business and see that it takes, I don't know, you could force me a little on that one if you want. I could force myself, but the point I'd like to make is that it is relatively low startup cost. And the vision that I set forward for people is start low. And my vision is $500 on tools, $500 on training, $1,000. And I'm hoping that you're making that every month by the end of the first year. And then the money that you make from sharpening, you reinvest into your business. So if you want to scale up your toolings or anything like that, you make money from your business to do that. So my goal is $1,000 and 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. And you can build something where that money comes back. And if you have the ability to look forward, some period of time, for some people it's months, for others it's years, then eventually you build this thing that generates money that you can take from it again and have fun with, and not feel compelled to put it back into the business. Low startup costs. And the next one is flexible work schedule. I love that. I've seen both, right? I've seen some people, Paul stands out here from Alexandria. He works hard. He is not shy about spending time in the shop. Some people, like myself, maybe, I don't want to build an 8-hour a day business for my retirement. Really, my vision, it is where it's at, like, 1 to 40 customers a month. That's a nice workflow for me. I can do it at night. I can do it in the morning. If I want to come in, like, I can just kind of do it. I can take a day off or two, the point is that you can scale this business to whatever size you want. And both that and the flexible work schedule. The next one is that it is and like steady demand is one thing. It is that if you're around humans, then you're around cutting tools, and it doesn't take a lot of work to be a better sharpener than most of the people around you. So there's a tons of opportunity. And then by the nature of their function, they will get dull with time. So by the time you build up a reputation and a customer base, you can scale back your time spent marketing, and now you have, like, it's relatively steady workflow. So that's the next thing that is a nice one. It's really nice for everyone, but it is nice for retirement as well. Excuse me. Yeah, JD asked if I'm retired or still working. I am still working. I'm trying to design my life as well. I'm the sole income provider for a family of 4, so I'm still working on figuring some stuff out. But I'll use that to get to my next point, which was that how much earlier could you retire if you had a revenue stream already coming in? If retirement is on the horizon for you, how much money do you need coming in per month as supplemental income that might speed up the rate at which you're able to retire. So that's kind of where I'm at in this game currently, JD. And that's another good point there, is that I'm speaking to this retirement concept not from a place of experience, but as an outsider looking in. But I also have worked with several people in the guild who would fall under that retired category, but they are sharpening. Okay, I'm going to, this is actually my favorite one, which the tagline is local community support, but it's really community involvement, and it is engaging with other people. And that's here's one thing that I think is really important for people as they age. It is to be engaged with other people. And I wonder how many people leave the workforce and then realize that that was their social network as well. And if they don't have one, then there's a chance of becoming lonely. And I wonder how much value, right? Not financial value, but social value could come from a weekly farmer's market, where honestly, like you're not, it doesn't even, the sharpening at that point doesn't even matter. You are there to provide a service to your community, to, correspond with other people, and be engaged with other people. And then like there's a bunch of other things that go on there. Like if you're going to do that, you're communicating with the market manager, you're building relationships with everybody else who is providing a product or service to your area. You become more interested in what's going on in your town. And it's an awesome, I don't know, I could see it being a very awesome thing for somebody to stay engaged and interacting with people. I kind of buzzed over it there too, but the whole like helping out your community and offering a valuable service to the people around you, that's a great one too. I'm just thinking of Greg right now, and or Doug too. Like they go out, their model is that they meet their customer and they in the driveway and do an exchange and have a conversation with their customer. So there's some value to that as well. So that's the community aspect of it, a big one in my opinion. Low overhead costs is another one, and this is I really like this one. If you're not familiar with my sharpening shop, I've actually I have this ambition that I don't think a lot of other people share, but two things. One is I want to reduce the amount of waste that my entire life, like everything involved with life, I'd like to make my waste as little as possible. And I would also like to reduce my dependence on consumable goods stuff with my shop. So with my life. So that's why that was a driving factor for me moving into CBN wheels and getting into sharpening on the lathe, is that the light, because with belted sharpening, it's not like they cost a ton of money, but I would have to buy belts at some frequency. And then when the belts wear out, I throw them away. So that was one thing. I sacrificed maybe a little bit by becoming less dependent on belts, but it serves this other thing that is important to me. And the point that we get back to there, even if you are doing sharpening on belts, that's pretty much the only overhead or routine expenses. I'm also kind of saying this, like you can set this shop up if you have a garage, like a single bay in a garage, or mine's in my basement. You can have a little outbuilding. There's you don't need to go like downtown brick and mortar, rent a place or anything. You can even just set up in a trailer in your driveway. So there's again, kind of that first part, low startup costs. There's also low overhead costs. And again, we do need to use this conceptually in reference, relative to other business opportunities that you might be considering as you're looking at retirement. All right, the next one is one that not a lot of us really pursue. I'm thinking Dylan now, but it's scalability. If you did want to grow this business, you can scale up in a big way. And like, there's a guy not far from me that has an 8-person sharpening shop, and right, like you look at going mobile, you can look at going industrial sharpening. The upper limit of the sharpening space is way up there, and you can run with this as much as you want. A place where this might be relevant for people considering retirement is if you want to get family involved, and if it becomes like a family business, then there's space to grow the business with family. So that's just want to emphasize that it's scalable. Yeah, Bubba. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, like I get to see Bubba every week. I really enjoy hanging out with him. And you just mentioned here that he got a CBN wheels for his Tormec, but it hadn't occurred to him at that time that it would be cutting down on the waste stream in his shop. So yeah, thanks, man. All right, my next one is the satisfying and tangible work. This is the thing. If you're anything like me, I love doing jobs where I can step back from it and take a look at it and be proud of what I've built. And my shop is one space where like every now and then I'll take a moment and just like, this is really amazing. Like I know to a lot of people it might not seem like much, but like here I am in this little room in my basement, and it's I'm proud of it, of what I've built. That's like one, like that's your shop. But then there's also like the knives themselves. Like when you get into doing this work, like it can be really satisfying and pride inducing when you slice a piece of paper and you're like, yeah, like I have been working on that. Like that feels good. So there is pride involved. A lot of people talk about the Zen aspect of sharpening. It is one that can be soothing. It's like it doesn't have to be very mentally taxing, doesn't have to be super stressful. You can do it sitting, standing, so that again, these are great things, all conducive to, as you get older, like move at your own pace. And it can be very satisfying work. I already mentioned the social interaction one. Oh, eco-friendly. I love this one too. And again, I guess you got to find the right person, which I am. But I also oppose this consumer culture that we've evolved into. Excuse me. This throwaway society where we all have a tendency to consume a lot and throw things away. And I would love to be a small force in the movement to shift that back to the buy once, cry once sort of mentality, where we focus on buying high quality items and then taking care of the things we own. And like I look at the knives in my kitchen, and I hope that they last, like generations, like that was my great granddad's knife, like something like that. That's the same with the tools in the barn. And then I'd love, all of us are part of that, right? Like rather than buying garbage knives and putting them in a landfill when they get dull, we buy great knives, so we have an awesome experience with whatever we're doing, whether it's cutting up vegetables in the kitchen or skinning a deer in the woods or whatever. And then that's just we take care of it and it lasts for generations. So we're part of that. And I just got a shout out from John. What's up, man? Definitely love hanging out with you as well. And then there's this, I don't know, like there's other ways to scale too. And I don't really like the idea of passive income. I think the concept there is that it's front loaded work. And sharpening is not passive, but you can get into other things where if you're the type that wants to produce content, or if you are the type that wants to maybe host classes or teach or something like that, there's other ways to grow the sharpening. And then there's also the selling of goods, right? Like I have one post in the guild that's an upsell for everybody, where think through, like, we've earned this customer. Like, is there any other way we can provide more value to their life? And like for kitchen customers, for example, I sell the ceramic hones, and I invite everybody who I sharpen kitchen knives for to purchase a hone. And with that, I include a video on my recommended way to use it. So in one sense, it's a little counterintuitive, because if they do hone their knives well, then they would not be bringing them back to me. But I would much rather them have an awesome experience and, be able to offer some education and help them out with something. Anyway, the point there is that we can sell products as well. All right, Matt Douglas. Yeah, man, thanks. Started back in 2020. Dude, been a long ride. Very good. Thanks for being here. All right, so there's a bunch of points on sharpening in retirement. I appreciate y'all for dropping in and hanging out with me. If you happen to be here and you're either considering retirement or in the retirement phase of life, I certainly welcome you to offer part of your story or any thoughts on it in the comments here. I've thought about doing a sharpener in the spotlight on these calls, and I didn't set one up. I've thought about a lot of stuff, even just doing these, but like interview style with another member in the guild. I hope that what I was hoping here is I can kind of just loop in some other people in the guild as part of the conversation, which I did a little bit of. But if you would like to see a sharpener in the spotlight, then I would welcome that feedback, and I can help tune these over time. Okay, a couple more things to close me out here. First one is if you're watching this and you're considering becoming a member of the guild, I highly recommend you having the goal of showing up on those calls Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We meet up on Zoom, and it is such a way to learn and just to meet people. And I'm talking like, we got John here, Bubba. Like, I know these guys because I get to talk with them every Thursday night, and they know me as well. So I think that's awesome. There's more people in the guild than those who show up at the meetings. So I'd like to just really start banging the drum on, like, come to these calls, please, for you. They're awesome. One thing that I skipped here was the looking forward part. Excuse me one sec. But before I do that, JD shared that, I think I can check that out. He found himself bored right after retiring, and he started a sharpening business, and it's been a focus for his energy, kept him busy and feeling productive. Yeah, awesome. JD, thanks a lot, man. That's perfect. Hope you don't mind, John. I'm going to hoss yours up here too. Yeah, I remember that, John. Yeah, he's saying fell down some stairs, which got him into retirement. Dude, I remember you sharpening on your porch. Yeah, dude, with a knife grinder and a board across your walker. Yeah, man. Look at that. Yeah, John's a champ. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'll just throw it out here. I'm going to loop back to it, actually. The thing I wanted to mention was looking forward. So into February of 2025 in the guild, the theme is going to be building customer relationships. And this speaks to one of the points I made earlier, where if we can build this customer base, as our customer base builds, our marketing energy can get throttled back. because we do incorporate this repeat workflow. But building customer relationships is pivotal to making that happen. And the whole, like, the best marketing is word of mouth, right? So like, we're going to talk about ways to build customer relationships, and I'll be sharing how I've done that. And I guess, like, I suppose it sort of matters. I try not to put a lot of weight on this, but I think I have something like 260 5-star reviews on my Google business profile. That's very helpful. That's my customers helping me out, you know? So we'll talk, well, in the guild, we'll be talking about how we do that, and how we build those relationships. All right, Greg mentioned here that you're considering joining the guild and sharpening in retirement. Wonderful. Oh, good. Yeah, right. Like, this is for you, man. Okay, you're asking, your direct question there is tips for building clients without social media advertising. So here's my thing, man. Like, I don't like social media either. Here I am on social media, but I don't get my sharpening work from YouTube, right? But I did do have a Facebook page for my business. I haven't been on there in years. I don't do any. I know about them, but I'm just saying that, like, you don't need it. And I always tell everybody I work with, like, don't do something you hate, you know. And like, there's a lot of us that just don't want to be on these platforms. So that's not, like, that's okay. Like, we'll do it a different way then. And what that means, though, is you're probably going to have to get bold and courageous and get outside your comfort zone a little bit. And like, if you got, first off, you got to build your marketing wagon wheel, which I go through in the foundations course in the guild. And you need to identify the marketing approaches that interest you, and then work on those. And I'll help you work on those. Well, I'll help you work on them. But it certainly doesn't have to be social media. Yeah. And then, Greg, you followed up with this idea. And I know, like, yeah, I want to give you one more, Greg, right? And what it is like, one thing that Doug's really made me proud. Doug in the guild, Doug Ryder. He took my challenge, my cold calling challenge. So he did some research and he made a list of all of his potential clients in his area. Most of it's going to end up being B2B, business to business, because you can look up their phone number. And then every day he calls somebody, or he drops in, right? So that's what I had in my mind when I was saying you're going to have to be bold and get outside your comfort zone a little bit, unless you're the type of dude who's totally cool with that. And then it won't be that hard at all. But we can definitely help you build out a list, and if that's an approach you wanted to take. But again, it's really, I never want to suggest you do something you don't want to do. It's delicate here, though, right? Because if I am asking you to go outside your comfort zone, then maybe you don't want to do it. But whatever, man. Like, we'll figure something out. We can do it. And then you just followed up with that thing about there's lots of restaurants. Here's the way I'd like for you to think about that. And I see this a lot, and this is a very common sentiment, that if you see restaurants, there's knives in the restaurant, and those knives need to be sharpened. What I assume you're going to find out is that those knives are on some sort of program where they're very cheap knives, and they get sharpened very fast by a company that rolls through and drops them off and rolls out. Like, they're on a repeat thing like that. So the problem with that is that it's this race to the bottom mentality, and you're going to have, like, the restaurants aren't probably your best client. There are exceptions to that, which we can get into. But for now, what I want to ask you, I just want a quick reframe here. And you're looking at the restaurants, think less about the restaurants and think about all of the people that are at the restaurants. Those are your potential customers. And you're in a tourist area, like, those people are staying somewhere. Like, who's the Airbnb and those other I just can't think of the other one. VBRO, whatever. Like, get a hold of them, and like now you're on this, like, you got a Steve, who actually just okay. Yeah, Steve. Okay, good. That's so funny, man. Like, Steve Harris commented right below him. Steve, he lives in Breckenridge. He's in the guild as well. Like, see, like, I know Steve. Like, um, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, like, Steve's found an awesome way to do that, and like, one of the things Steve did is set up at a campground. Excuse me. All right. So yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, there's tons of ways to skin that cat. And we'll help you do it. And if you don't want to be on social media, that's fine. You don't have to be. Ralph asked, can you join the call without being a member? No, those calls are for members. Okay, thanks, Greg, for following up there. Yeah, property manager, right? So okay, now, all right, you're singing my song now, man. Like, you see that. Okay, that's just one. The way I see that is like, that's one spoke in the wagon wheel. We'd spend some time on that. We'd have the next 2 or 3 already identified. So once our action items are complete on that idea, we're ready to roll into the next one. And I talk about this marketing wagon wheel inside the course, the Foundations for Success, and it's in the marketing area. And like, once we get that wheel spinning, and you can eventually get to the point you can let go. And I can use my own business as an example there, where I'm booked out probably a month, maybe. Like, I don't even keep track, but I set it up so people have to schedule a time to drop off their knives and sharpen with me. I do 0 marketing, and I'm booked out a month. And like, people are like, I'm at the point now where like people are getting frustrated that they have to wait so long to make an appointment. But that's because my wheel is spinning, dog. You know what I mean? Okay, that was good stuff. Thank you, Greg, and thanks for weighing in on that, Steve. Appreciate you, man. Okay, so one thing I breezed over, which I wanted to come back to, was looking forward into February 2025 in the Guild, building customer relationships. We're going to talk about that, and our guest, which is every year we get Cliff on, and we just talk about what's up in his business. He'll be hosting the Western Sharpeners Roundup, and I hope last year we had a decent showing of members at the Roundup, and so Cliff will be taking some time to talk about that. But really, I talked to Cliff about making sure that we spend some time on that call talking about building customer relationships. And Cliff is a great way about thinking about things. I'm sure that the art of sharpening will come up in that call as well. But it's always fun having Cliff, and those people are always happy to show up for those. So that's if you don't know Cliff Curry Custom Cutlery, you should definitely find him on YouTube if you haven't already, and support him. He sells a bunch of stuff in his shop as well. So he's very supportive of the Guild in a lot of ways, and we are all very thankful and supportive of him as well. Okay, my last thing here. Okay, Ralph asked, are there many Guild members that sharpen full time? Okay, that's so Ralph is he's interested in transitioning from part to full-time sharpening. Okay. Yeah, so this is I think I forgive me if I missed this earlier, Ralph, but are you a part-time sharpener now looking to go full-time, or are you looking to transition from JOB or something else in your life to full-time sharpening? But anyway, the answer to your question here is yes. Josh is full-time. And I guess Paul would probably consider himself full-time, and Dylan isn't yet, but Dylan's in the same camp you are, I think. Like, he's interested in getting to the full-time space. I think the majority, and then there's a bunch of guys that are like, well, how do you define full-time? Like, there's Can be anyway. Shoot, blanking on his name, but anyway, there's a bunch of guys that. Oh, Buck's an example where like he's it's his main source of income now, but he's in a retirement phase where like he doesn't need full-time income, so he's just doing it as much as he wants. Scott was another guy that I was thinking of there. Like he's in retirement and he's like, depends how you. That's a good question. Steve asked if Ken is transitioned. That's a good question. Ken's got it. Ken has it. He's balancing a few things right now. And I think he's between properties and sharpening. That might be his revenue streams. It'd probably be good to consult him on that. But I think that it's a main focus for him. And he just got into selling knives too. So yeah, I think you're right, Steve. I think that is kind of the direction Ken is pointing as well. That dude's awesome. All right, thanks. So last couple of minutes here. If you have any other things you would like to ask her, feel free to do that in the comments now. The last thing I wanted to share is that I have been in conversation with somebody who I think is building or has a vision to build a really cool program. And it's with regard to helping veterans start sharpening businesses. Excuse me. There are several veterans in the guild. John, who is with us tonight, is one of them. And it is with the whole retirement thing, I kept it more broad, but all of that applies to veterans. And then I think we could spend a whole nother thing on specifically retirement, sharpening in retirement for veterans. So all that to say, like I fully endorse this. There's somebody that I've been talking with that's working on a program to do this. And I just kind of want to put it out here without a ton of details just yet. But if you're watching this and you are a veteran, especially if you've been deployed and you're coming back from a war zone or anything like that, then please, I invite you to reach out to me and, you can get on that list to be included in those conversations to learn more. So hopefully there's more to follow on that in time, but it's just one of those things again where this opportunity or this I don't fully know like what the opportunity is at the moment, but there's somebody working on something that sounds very promising and really positive. And if you'd like to learn more about that, then reach out to me and connect on it, and we'll figure it out together. All right, Matt Douglas just weighing in here. Half is income from sharpening and half is from a 40-hour job. That's okay. So like you're reaching that zone where like if you wanted to if you wanted to transition, we'll call it, like you are very well positioned to do so. So that's awesome. Yeah, I'll tell you, Matt, like just one thing for me is like one thing that would make it real easier. And another, like a big mission of mine is to have no debt. So I'm very aggressively trying to pay down my mortgage. And I feel like whatever risk is associated with that jump would be that much more reduced if I didn't have debt. So I'm not sure if that is on your radar or not, Matt, but it's one thing that it sounds like you and I are kind of like, probably have a few similarities in our journey. All right, thanks everybody who jumped in here. I appreciate all the comments, you guys weighing in. Hopefully that was fun. So I appreciate you. I'll be planning to do another one of these in February, and it's possible that Cliff has asked in the past that we make the recording from the group call with him available on YouTube. So I think you could probably expect that to happen again. And if there's, one other thing I'd love to do is like just have a call with another member in the guild. So anyway, if I guess like subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you'll get notifications if any more of this fun stuff happens. But anyway, thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all. We'll catch you next time.